Have you ever wondered why some people seem to work effortlessly, achieving remarkable results while maintaining inner peace, while others burn out despite tremendous effort? What if the answer to this mystery has existed for over 5,000 years, hidden in plain sight within the verses of an ancient text? On a battlefield in ancient India, a warrior prince named Arjuna faced an impossible choice. As armies gathered for what would become the legendary Mahabharata war, he found himself paralyzed by doubt. It was here, in this moment of existential crisis, that Lord Krishna revealed to him the profound science of action, a secret knowledge that would transcend time itself. This knowledge was the Bhagavad Gita, not merely a religious text, but a psychological manual for perfecting the science of work. And the fascinating part, modern neuroscience is only beginning to validate what this ancient wisdom has proclaimed all along. The Bhagavad Gita speaks of karma yoga, the yoga of action, but not action as we typically understand it. This isn't about mere productivity hacks or time management techniques. This is something far more fundamental, addressing the very relationship between your consciousness and your work. Consider this paradox that Krishna presents to Arjuna. You have the right to work, but never to the fruits of your work. Pause for a moment and truly contemplate what this means. In our result-obsessed culture, this statement seems almost blasphemous. We're conditioned to believe that attachment to outcomes is the very fuel of motivation. But what if this conventional wisdom is precisely what's sabotaging our performance and mental equilibrium? When we attach ourselves to specific outcomes, our brain activates the fear centers associated with potential loss. This triggers the release of stress hormones, constricting our creativity, narrowing our perspective, and paradoxically making the desired outcome less likely. The Gita identified this trap millennia before modern psychology gave it a name: cognitive fixation. But here's where it gets even more intriguing. Krishna doesn't advocate abandoning ambition or goals. Instead, he presents a revolutionary mental model: to act with complete dedication while simultaneously practicing detachment from results. This isn't passive resignation, but dynamic acceptance, a psychological stance that modern performance psychology calls process orientation. When elite athletes enter the zone, they report experiencing precisely this state: complete immersion in the present action with a curious detachment from outcomes. Time slows, self-consciousness dissolves, performance elevates. Sound familiar? The Gita describes this as Buddhi Yoga, the yoga of intelligence, where action flows from higher awareness rather than reactive impulses. But why does this work, and how can we apply this ancient wisdom to our modern lives? The Gita identifies 3 gunas or qualities that govern all activities in nature: tamas or inertia, rajas or passion, and sattva or harmony. Every action we perform carries the signature of one of these qualities. Tamasic work is performed carelessly, without consideration of consequences, driven by confusion or apathy. Rajasic work is done with intense attachment to results, fueled by ego, desire, and anxiety. Sattvic work is performed with steadiness, without attachment to success or failure, guided by duty rather than desire. Most of us oscillate between tamasic and rajasic modes of work, either disengaged and reluctant, or frantically striving with emotional turbulence. Both states deplete our mental resources and diminish our effectiveness. The Gita's revolutionary proposition is that we can consciously elevate our work to the sattvic level, achieving a state where action becomes meditation, where work becomes worship. But here's the suspenseful question that lurks beneath the surface. If we detach from results, won't we lose our drive? Won't we become passive and ineffective? Krishna's answer is counterintuitive yet profound. True detachment doesn't decrease performance, it enhances it. When we release the psychological burden of attachment, we free immense mental resources. Anxiety diminishes, clarity emerges. We respond to challenges with flexibility rather than rigidity. We make decisions based on present reality rather than feared futures. Modern research on cognitive load theory confirms this ancient insight. When our working memory is not cluttered with worry about outcomes, we have greater cognitive bandwidth for the task itself. Studies of flow states, that optimal experience of complete absorption, show that productivity can increase by up to 500% when we enter this state of detached engagement. The Gita also introduces another revolutionary concept, nishkama karma, desireless action. This doesn't mean having no desires whatsoever, but rather transcending the small personal desires in service of something greater. When we connect our work to a purpose beyond ourselves, when we understand how our actions serve others or contribute to a larger mission, our brain's reward circuitry activates in more sustainable ways. Dopamine is released not just upon achieving results, but during the process itself. This is why the Gita emphasizes yajna, the spirit of sacrifice, as the framework for all work. When we mentally reframe our efforts as offerings rather than acquisitions, the neurochemistry of our motivation transforms. But the most profound benefit of this approach may be its effect on our mental health. The World Health Organization has declared stress the health epidemic of the 21st century. Burnout, anxiety, and depression have reached unprecedented levels, particularly among high achievers. Why? Because our contemporary work culture has institutionalized precisely the attachment to outcomes that the Gita warns against. By practicing the Gita's approach to work, we create an internal buffer against the psychological toll of professional life. We learn to engage fully without being consumed. We discover how to care deeply about our work without deriving our self-worth from its results. Perhaps most mysteriously, practitioners of this approach often report that when they release their white-knuckled grip on outcomes, synchronicities increase, the right opportunities appear, unexpected doors open. What the Gita calls prasada, divine grace, seems to operate with greater visibility in their lives. Is this merely confirmation bias? Or is there something more profound at work, something that modern science has yet to fully explain? The Bhagavad Gita invites us into an experiment, not of blind belief, but of lived experience. It challenges us to test its propositions in the laboratory of our own consciousness. What would happen if you approached tomorrow's work with complete dedication but zero attachment? What might change if you reframed your career not as a path to personal achievement, but as a field for spiritual development? How might your effectiveness transform if you worked from a place of duty rather than desire? In a world obsessed with productivity hacks and quick-fix solutions, the Gita offers something far more revolutionary, a complete reimagining of our relationship with work itself. Not merely a technique to work better, but a path to transform work into a vehicle for self-realization. The battlefield where Arjuna stood paralyzing with doubt was not just a physical place, but a metaphor for the conflicts we all face. And Krishna's timeless wisdom wasn't just for a warrior prince of ancient India, but for anyone who has ever struggled with the fundamental questions of action and purpose. The science of work perfected through the Bhagavad Gita isn't just about doing more or achieving more. It's about becoming more conscious, more peaceful, more alive through the very actions that constitute our daily lives. The question remains, will you take up this ancient wisdom and apply it to the laboratory of your own life? The battlefield awaits. The choice is yours.